This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Grant, it's Friday. We made it. We finally are here, sir. How are you today?
I'm pretty good, minus my voice being a little rough.
You're a little groggly this morning.
A little bit.
I told you that's what smoking does to your voice, Grant.
I don't smoke.
You gotta lay off the 12-pack a day plan, man. You gotta.
I don't smoke, to anybody out there that's listening.
Okay.
There's been a cough going around.
No, it's true. People are falling sick here on our beloved campus, Grant.
And I've been singing a lot this week because we have a concert tonight.
That's true. A choir concert. We're looking forward to it after our group that took us down to Florida over spring break for, as you some of you listeners know, for some of our shows. And now we have our final concert of the year, Grant. It's an exciting time, is it not?
It is.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that, though.
I'm excited. And we got some good stuff, but some more exciting stuff happening. Last night we had the NFL draft, but before we get into that, I'm just going to tell you all our social media stuff so you can get in contact with us, because we love interacting with you guys. I believe it was earlier this week or later last week, we had somebody ask us how we became to our favorite teams, like how I'm a St. Louis sports fan for some sports, but then I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and now Baxter got into soccer, stuff like that. So we always enjoy those kind of questions. We really appreciate that. To find us on Facebook, you can go ahead and follow us at the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Go over to Twitter and follow us at BG Sports Show. You can go on Instagram and use the hashtag the Bax Grant Sports Show. The Bax Grant.
Yeah, there's no "and"
show.
in there.
And by using that hashtag, you can find us. That picture, will show up on Sports Radio America. Also, you can find us on the Cube. You can. We will post a link, but you can go and search on the Cube and look for the Bax and Grant Sports Show. What is it, number 59?
59, Grant.
Almost to that 60.
Almost,
on
yeah.
Monday. Bax and Grant Sports Show, number 59. You can also go and download our show on iTunes. Obviously, we are on Sports Radio America.
Yeah.
You can find us live on Spreaker every day at 9 a.m. We are also on Live 365 and TuneIn Radio.
Draft going.
lot of positions.
Just about anybody that'll.
And it just goes to show how much the Bucks organization doesn't know.
Yeah.
And Mariota. But no, Winston and Mariota went 1-2 like was the original thing, and nothing interesting happened. So that was a little unfortunate. But good pick by the Tennessee Titans. They needed a quarterback. Mariota is a solid choice. So no qualms there, really.
Well, here, Grant, before you get too far past the first picks, I think a lot of people are really upset by the lack of drama that happened. I mean, yes, you can make whatever argument you want to make for Jameis Winston, and this is a family show, so I will not go on too long of a rant in terms of Jameis Winston. I think that was probably one of the worst decisions that they could have ever made with their lives, and will regret it for the next 5 to 10 or one preseason game that he'll last for.
He's going to be another draft bust.
I honestly, people are like, he's going to be the next DeMarcus Russell, and I'm the first person on that train supporting that, because I think that his off-field issues are far too large, and when you have that much going on before you even get into the league, Grant, it raises massive question marks, and the organization decided to play it not safe and not draft Marcus Mariota or another position that would have helped them. Even drafting Leonard Williams, they would have had a really good defensive line at that point, because they've got Gerald McCoy on their defensive line. They would have had 2 marquee pass rushers. Instead, they didn't go with the quarterback route, and yeah, well, you know what? We'll see what happens. And with Marcus Mariota, Grant, all the rumors, all the speculation, are the Browns going to trade up? Are the Eagles going to trade up? People were chanting, Eagles fans were chanting down in Chicago, make the deal, Chip, make the deal, Chip, because they wanted Chip Kelly to be able to trade up and take Mariota, and it didn't end up going out that way. And
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised with everything that the Eagles have been doing. Last night I was watching the draft, they pulled up they showed a list of who they've all acquired this offseason and who they all got rid of this offseason.
For who?
And, the Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been, it was 15 names on each side, and a lot of big marquee players were moving in and moving out, and we all know this, and it would have been really interesting for them to just go up in the draft to draft Marcus Mariota, even though, look at the
you have the right amount of players to do it.
The arguable depth in quarterback.
Yes.
You could argue that they have depth. I wouldn't say they have that much depth, but it would have been interesting.
They have 5 quarterbacks on their roster, if that's what you mean by depth.
Right, but how good are all of them?
Yes.
And I was talking to somebody last night. They're a fun person. And they were saying that what if the Eagles move up in the draft, not to draft Mariota, but to draft Melvin Gordon? Now, to add him to the Legion of Zoom, how interesting would that make everything?
I think it would have been amazing, but I think somebody would have had to go.
Right. It wouldn't be practical for them to keep all of those running backs.
No, it really wouldn't. And I'm looking here, Grant, and I find it a little ironic, as I'm looking at the Subway article here in the USA Today. There's a picture of Marcus Mariota in a whited-out jersey because they couldn't put the Oregon logo. But he looks kind of like in a Titans jersey in a very loose form. There's no blue, Titans blue, but even still, it's a Nike jersey. And I'm like, maybe Subway called that before it even got there.
I don't know what you're seeing.
No.
I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it.
Maybe it's just my old eyes.
It's a jersey that's white.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to play ESPN for a minute. Be like, look, Subway knew it all along. Conspiracy, blah, blah. No, I'm not that guy. Anyway, Grant, but the first 5 picks in the draft, nothing too exciting. And we were even talking about this, too, last night when we were following the draft. And I went over to you during our rehearsal, and I'm like, wow, First 5 picks have been pretty boring because nothing has happened. Nothing really exciting happened. You could make the biggest argument for anything surprising was the Redskins drafting Brandon Sharif? I think it's Sharif. I don't know. Brandon out of Iowa. We'll say he's the offensive lineman out of Iowa. Some people thought it was a bit of a surprise, yet given the fact that RG3 ends up more on his butt than he does completing passes, getting another big Midwestern boy in there to start blocking for him, I think would be a huge thing for him. Amari Cooper goes to the Raiders. Yeah, they need to have someone to throw the ball to out there, so why not throw the ball to him? Leonard Williams going to the Jets. No surprise really there. They need help on defense. Kevin White to the Bears. Bear fans were ecstatic. They're really excited about it. Good for them.
But Cutler has to get him the ball.
Yeah, that's one thing at a time. Now, Grant, if there was anything that really surprised a lot of people, it was the St. Louis Rams.
Right.
The St. Louis Rams go out and draft Todd Gurley, breaking the first-round drought, as it were, of running backs not being taken in the first round.
Well, I have two complaints with this. Personally, I think Melvin Gordon was the best running back in the class. I know some people disagreed and said that Gurley overall was a better running back, even though Melvin Gordon had the better college career. But, I mean, that's up for debate. But besides that, that's not a really big deal. But the big thing is that a lot of people had a problem with is the Rams already have a solid running back.
They have 2.
Yeah, two solid running
backs. Zach Stacy and Trey Mason. Both of them combined have been in the league for 3 years.
And one only had above 1,000 yards.
Yeah, Zach Stacy, 2 years ago, his rookie year ran for 1,000 yards, and then this last season, I was one of those believers and drafted him in fantasy football, and then he ended up getting some injuries, and then also just was not consistent due to the injuries and just also the emergence of Trey Mason. So now with Gurley, Mason, and Stacy in the backfield, Stacy was trying to get out of Dodge now and has already officially filed for a trade request via Ian Rappaport of the NFL. So the Rams will now be looking to shop Zach Stacy, a young running back who was a 5th-round draft pick but still has very capable of making a lot of big plays happen. So now with day 2 of the draft starting and Zach Stacy on the market, maybe the Rams will be able to get something interesting out of it, whether it's some picks or maybe somebody that's already been drafted. You never know.
Yeah, maybe.
Aside from that, though, nothing else too crazy overall. Devontae Parker going to the Miami Dolphins. They were very excited about that. Ryan Tannehill actually has a wide receiver to throw to now. I know he has Greg Jennings to throw the ball to, but let's be honest, Devontae Parker is 10,000 times faster. So we'll see about that. But some ties, though.
I missed the whole Greg Jennings going to the Miami Dolphins thing.
Oh, that's awkward.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, he...
that shows what I know, whatever.
The more you know, Grant. But yeah, yes, that's...
Another interesting pick, moving on. Sorry for me just forgetting
everything. You just stared at me, I'm like, what, do I have something on my face?
I didn't know that he went there. Interesting. But anyway, Melvin Gordon going to San Diego. It's interesting little thing that Melvin Gordon just broke last season LaDainian Tomlinson's rushing record for most yards in a game, and then ends up getting drafted by his big team, the San Diego Chargers. So that was a little interesting. So I think he'll do well there. They're really going to enjoy him. One big question mark, though, that I had in this draft was the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
And I was really confused. I was expecting...
Well, I mean, it's Cleveland, Grant.
Yeah,
What do you want? What do you want? What were you expecting?
I know. But I was really confused when I was watching the draft. I'm like, why did they pick? They picked Cameron Irving, center, from Florida State.
Yes.
So he's played with Jameis Winston, and he's given him time because you need to have time in the pocket to be able to throw as well as he does. So we know he's a good player, but the thing is, him as a player, they have moved him around in the offensive line in the past, Florida State has. And he was really trying to find his niche and where he was good at, because he really wasn't finding it. And he found it last season at center, and he played extremely well at center, and that was where he thrived. So he came into the draft listed as a center, and the Cleveland Browns, who just picked up a nose tackle, now going to the other side and are picking up
Danny Shelton.
Yeah, they're just Danny Shelton from Washington picked him up in the 12th pick, and then using their 19th pick went and picked up Cameron Irving. Now, my thing is,
they just wanted each other to have a partner when they do those offense-defensive drills.
Hold
so they can go against each other.
But the thing is, the Cleveland Browns already have a decent enough center.
They do.
So that was really interesting. It made some people scratch their heads a little bit, and people are probably thinking that they're going to use him elsewhere on the line. But everybody's concern is that, and they were talking about it last night, is they were showing like film and they're like, yeah, he doesn't do as well as he does at center and as he does in other positions. So why are you taking the risk with that? So that was another head scratcher of a pick for me.
Yes, no, I completely agree. The Browns doing very Cleveland Brown things. We'll see exactly what ends up panning out with that. We'll have Connor Christensen on later in the show to talk about the Vikings pick. Grant, we did make the joke, though, that the Denver Broncos did end up trading up and ended up drafting Shane Ray. For those of you that don't know, Shane Ray is been in trouble lately for marijuana and pot, and now goes to one of the states that it is legal at. Just going to leave that there and walk away. Anyway, and all that money.
See what you did there, Denver.
Right. Well done. Or not, maybe. Anyway. And then looking at the Green Bay Packers pick, Grant, before we jump to a break, the Green Bay Packers obviously notably needed help in the secondary and on that second level with the linebackers as well. And they go a little off the cuff, but this is a Ted Thompson sort of thing to do, and they draft a punter. No, I'm kidding. They drafted Demarius Randall, a safety out of Arizona State. Highly regarded as the best safety in the draft class. He's 5'11", 197, so good size. He's only 22, so he's younger than us, Grant. Well, he's younger than me, older than you.
I was going to say,
he's Connor, basically. Imagine
I'm 20.
Connor's in the NFL. Well done, Connor. He was from Pensacola, Florida. Very, very good player. People really enjoyed the fact that he... hard breaker on the ball. He can make athletic plays. Although John Gruden last night, he's like, I'm not so sure about how good he can tackle. And then he just kind of left it there, and then they went to a break.
Well, they've been saying that about. They were saying that about a bunch of.
Exactly.
They were saying that about one of the corners before, and saying that he couldn't tackle well. And I'm like, I feel like that's a problem with a lot of players, and the Packers can't tackle anyway, so it'll fit right in.
Exactly. Well, bring him in. Yeah, just a few things of what the scouts are saying about him. These are just unsolicited scouts from the NFC and AFC. Some of them saying he's going to be, from an NFC scout, he's going to go back into the first round, extremely athletic, very fast, very position flexible. An AFC scout said, I saw him, I liked him, good ball skills, he can play corner in a pinch, you can cover with him in the slot, he has those kind of moment skills. And then you had some AFC scouts that are like, yeah, second rounder, I'm not crazy about him. And then one guy was like, I like the little dude, maybe a second rounder. I'm like, he's 5'11", how little is that? But what do I know?
Well, some of the guys that they were drafting last night were like 6'10".
Well, yeah, the offensive lineman that the Giants drafted was 6'6", 335. So
yeah,
Eli Manning is going to have no problem staying off the ground on that one.
Some of those guys are massive. But my thing with Demarius Randall that I'm okay with the pick is they needed help in the secondary. And a little interesting thing, if you're curious about it, just throwing that out there, the NFL Draft website, if you go and look at the list, they will actually give you a number, and they have like a key so you can like compare the numbers and whatnot to their prediction and how well they're going to do in their NFL career, like on a 1 to 10 scale. And they gave Demarius Randall, they just said he was going to be a starter in the NFL, just a solid starter, and I'm okay with that. He doesn't need to be like an over-the-top player as long as he can get the job done and bat down passes. He doesn't need to have like 20 interceptions in a season or anything like that. The Packers needed a safety. I agreed with the pick going, taking a safety or maybe even a corner over a linebacker, because I felt like they needed more help in the secondary than they did in the linebacking.
Yes, especially with losing Tramon Williams and Devon House as well in the offseason. So the Packers addressing one of their needs. We'll see as the second round gets underway today. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it was raining in Milwaukee last night, but not in the proper way. The Bulls spanking the Bucks. We'll talk about that and all sorts of other fun stuff when we come back. This is the Bax and Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Bax and Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
All right, Grant, we were chatting NFL draft in the first segment, talking about the Packers and all kinds of other fun stuff, and the crab stealer, the Jameis Winston pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Just moving on anyway. The NBA last night, Grant.
I feel like I know there's more problems than just the crab legs that are of his character.
What? I love it. I get the update on my phone from Bleacher Report saying Jameis Winston trolls internet by posting picture of self with crab legs, and I'm not going to even say what I said.
Well, my big thing, with I don't know, the whole sexual assault thing. I mean, for me, that's what raises some question marks.
Right?
Yeah, maybe not so much crab legs, maybe that. I don't know, though. But, I don't know if that's really a good thing to be using that and taunting the internet. I feel like the crab legs was a little
See, for me,
path.
Grant, I don't want to continue to get off topic on this, but see, for me, like, if I knew a player that I wanted to draft had a lawsuit filed against him, that was still not officially, taken care of,
I would take him off the board and look for somebody else. Or open up the phones and saying, if you really want him, we will be really willing to trade.
Yeah.
Like if they are willing to go a little later in the first round and then maybe get some other kind of compensation.
Yeah. Notice how the Browns didn't try to trade up for the Buccaneers pick. Like they wanted that second pick, but what's one more spot? Like I get it's the first round, like the first overall pick, and between the second overall pick, and it was going to be probably Mariota, Winston, 1-2, no matter really what. Well, Browns should have just tried to do that and then just taken Mariota first.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But anyway, Grant, last night in the NBA playoffs, the Chicago Bulls took on the Milwaukee Bucks in a Game 6 thriller. People were very excited about the game. They thought
the Bucks just won 2 straight.
They did, yeah. The Bulls had a 3-0 lead, and then the Bucks came storming back, and all signs pointed to the next round for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Or at least Game 7.
Game 7, and that's what many people were thinking. Like, you know what, Bucks in 7. And then, Grant... And then...
Last night happened.
I'm going to tell you 3 numbers, Grant.
Okay, give me those 3 numbers.
The first number is 54. Do you know what that represents?
I do know what that represents.
That number, Grant, is the difference in points between the Bulls and the Bucks. The final score last night was 120-66.
That is awful.
For an NBA game, Grant.
Ooh, that's bad. Like, even regular season, you don't even see that.
That was Game 6 in the playoffs.
You don't even see that in the regular season.
No, and some people can make the argument that because of Giannis getting ejected, that may have caused a sudden shift.
For confusing his sports.
Yes, he tackled somebody into the stands. I don't even know what to say about that. This does go down as this is the worst playoff loss in Bucks history, Grant.
I'm not surprised.
No, they've never lost a game this bad since 1970 when they lost by 36 points to the New York Knicks.
That's rough.
Yeah. And even that game was close, 132-96.
But you sometimes even see those kind of victories.
Yeah.
The Bulls were close to I was kind of cheering for them to hit 60 points at one point because it was so obvious that the Bucks weren't going to win the game.
We were following the game, and at one time when we checked into the third quarter, it was 81-38.
Yeah, something like that.
And we were both just like,
okay, so good season.
Yeah, right. Let's start talking about next year.
It's not like even we were throwing in the towel at that point. I've never seen anybody come back. I was like, yeah, go come back. But you knew it wasn't going to happen.
Exactly.
So,
all right, here's my next number for you, Grant.
Okay, yeah, next number.
0.
Okay, what's that number?
That number represents the amount of Bucks players that went into double digits for scoring last night. 0. Absolute big fat goose egg 0.
What was their top scorer?
Their top scorer was Michael Carter-Williams, and he had 8 points.
Yikes.
8 points, Grant.
Yikes.
Gosh.
MVP.
Yeah. Or no.
Give him the game ball.
Yeah. And then I will give you the last one is 20.
What's 20?
20 is the leading scorer for the Chicago Bulls. Mike Dunleavy had 20 points last night. He played 28 minutes, 5 of 7 from field goal range, and 6 of 6 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He did have 3 personal fouls.
And see, that's not even that big of a number.
No.
He didn't drop a
Gasol had 19,
50 bomb or anything like that.
Joakim Noah had 15, Noah had 11, Rose had 15, Butler had 16, but aside from that, aside from the starting 5, the fact that all starting five got in double digits is huge.
Yeah, that kind of goes to show like what the score is, or like why it is.
Yeah,
but it's not like it wasn't like any one individual player just went off. The Bulls just mightily and handily just took care of the Bucks. It was a little unfortunate because it was at home too, and a lot of people were excited. Like the pregame show was like a big deal. Everybody was going.
ESPN Milwaukee was debating on what they were going to have on the TV, the NFL draft or the Bucks game, and normally that's not a question. It's always the NFL over NBA, but Milwaukee was excited.
Right.
The buzz around even our campus, the buzz around the city as a whole, people were like, "Yeah, let's go Bucks, we got a chance." And then the game started.
Yeah, and then it was funny because I saw one of my professors. He went down into the like gathering area of our school and started watching the game. And before even halftime, he came back to sit in and listen to our rehearsal last night. I don't know if you saw him there.
I was wondering when he was. Okay,
yeah, because he was staying to watch the game. And he decided to just go and watch the rehearsal.
In his
instead.
defense, he is one of the music professors at our college. So in that regards, like,
yeah, but
I
still.
thought he was coming just to listen. I'm like, oh, he's here to listen. That's
no.
nice.
I think he was there for a while, and he was just watching the Bucks game, and that didn't end up well.
No, definitely not. So the Bulls will take on the Cavaliers in the second round, right. So that'll be a fun series to keep an eye on.
Yeah, but I just want to make a few statements about the Bucks.
Please.
Going 41-41, 23-18 at home this season.
Not bad.
Compared to last year, they had 15. They had 15 wins last year. And so absolutely fantastic job by the Bucks organization, even fighting off injury throughout the whole season, finishing 41-41, making it to the playoffs, taking a team like the Bulls to Game 6. Very well done. I'd say that's an extremely successful season. I think they surpassed everybody's hopes and dreams of what they wanted.
They did exceedingly high, yeah.
And I'm the coach who's...
Jason Kidd.
There you go, Jason Kidd. I was like, Kidd Young was in my head. I'm like, that is not right. That's not even a person. I was like, Jason Kidd did an absolute fantastic job. I like him as a coach. I really like him.
Sure.
Sure. You're just like, whatever.
He's a nice guy. I've met him. He's a nice guy.
I really like him for a coach, and... I think he really did a really good job with the team. Mm-hmm. Speaking of coaches, transition time.
Well done. So proud.
He taught me everything I know. Speaking of coaches, last night I was thinking about Coach K and how he's had an illustrious career and how he's done extremely well and just winning another championship and how many Final Four appearances he's had. And I was like, thinking, why isn't he in the NBA? And I'm sure he's gotten NBA offers, but I'm like, why does he stay in college? And then I was thinking of Greg Pop or Coach Pop and just getting his 1,000th win this past season.
1,000th?
His 1,000.
Like
his 1,000th. Whatever. His 1,000th.
It's like, what's 1,000?
I'm done saying 1,000th. It's kind of a mouthful.
His 1,000th win.
Anyway.
Say it in your announcer voice, Grant.
My announcer voice doesn't exist this morning.
Oh. Anyway,
I was thinking of how big of a deal that was, and ESPN did like a whole special thing, and then I was taking into account just thinking of their their differences of coaching, and thinking, do people view one like pro coaches more illustrious than college coaches in any sport? Just like a good coach, take a good college coach against a good pro sport coach. Does automatically, because it's pro sports, is the pro sport coach like held more illustrious over the college coach? And like taking into account that we did an article, or we didn't do an article. We read an article and talked about the salaries of the college basketball
during the NCAA
coaches
tournament.
Yeah, and they don't make chump change. They make some decent money.
Easily live off of some of that. That's for sure.
So I was interested to see what you thought, and if anybody else has some comments on it, just hit us up on Facebook at Baxi Grant Sports Show or Twitter at BG Sports Show. Tweet at us or Facebook us and with your comments, and we'd be interested to hear.
Well, my quick reaction to that, Grant, is it's an ever-changing arena because we saw as of yesterday that Billy Donovan, the longtime University of Florida coach, is now the new head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, and he's been an NCAA coach for 18 years. He's been around for a long time. He knows the game. He won a few national championships. The man is a legend in the college basketball world. He's not as big as Coach K, but we still saw him make the jump. We saw Jim Harbaugh go from the NFL down to the college level.
Right.
You saw Pete Carroll go from USC up to Seattle. Like, it really just kind of depends on the sport, and I think football and basketball are the two biggest ones. People are like, oh, who's the better coach? Who's the better coach? It's really hard to make a judgment because you can judge wins and losses and titles and all of that, but at the same time, the players you deal with are completely different.
Right.
The college athletes are there because they love the game, because they want to make it to the next level. The pro players are there. Sure, they probably love the game, but their bank accounts are also heavily padded, which makes it even more enjoyable. So that's probably why they're doing it more so. Now, you will find those teams that are like, we don't care about the money. We're here because we want to win championships. I love the coach. I respect the coach. And for me as a player, when I was growing up, if I didn't like my coach, it was very difficult to want to go to practice and even go to the games.
And look at the 49ers season that they just had this year.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it was clear that they didn't like the coach, and I still like Jim Harbaugh.
A lot of that was media-driven, though, I feel like, because the front office basically kicked him out and saying, we don't want you anymore, even though Harbaugh was like, I didn't have a problem with anybody here, and I thought everything was going okay, but they wanted him out.
And I feel like it was worse on the 49ers organization because a lot of people like Harbaugh.
Yes.
And a lot of people like him as a coach. So I feel like it was more, if they were trying to kind of like say, oh, it was all Harbaugh's fault, I don't think anybody really bought it. But anyway, another question I had about this, do college coaches, kind of like players, do they use college as a stepping stone to get to the pro leagues? Or
some coaches prefer to just do one or the other.
Because it was looking like a Coach K. Like, look at how long he's been in the league.
Yes.
And I don't believe he's ever coached in the NBA.
To my knowledge, no, he hasn't. I know he gets his NBA fix by coaching the Olympic basketball team for the United States, which is a huge feat within itself. You get to handpick pretty much the best NBA player, the best basketball players in the world, and go and win gold medals with them. I think that right there alone is pretty huge.
Right, and it goes to show that he can coach NBA, and I think he'd have no problem in the NBA.
I don't think so either.
But he doesn't make that next step because I think he just likes it in college. But do other coaches? Do you think they do that?
Well, there's rumors about Coach Calipari wanting to jump up to the NBA from Kentucky. I would assume some coaches, it's a line of succession because at the end of the day, doesn't anybody that gets into sports want to go professional at some point or another?
Some might. Some may not.
I know. I'm saying that's kind of like the general, like the average dream, as it were. Like, I'm going to go coach college basketball at D1 for 5 or 10 years, maybe win a championship, have some good seasons, good recruiting classes, but then if the New York Knicks or I'm just thinking of a basketball team come and say, hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars to come coach professionals in New York in the Madison Square Garden, it would be hard for me to say no to that because at the end of the day, that's what I would want to do. Yeah, regardless of how good of a school, if I'm coaching at Duke or if I'm coaching down at UCF in Florida, like a Division I school, going and doing successfully and then jumping to the pros. Some guys, like we said, that's why I think Coach K loves college basketball is because those guys want to be there because they respect the program, they respect him, and they play because they love the game, not because they're going to be getting fat paychecks.
And I also think because he has a nice grip on that organization and he knows how it works and he's built it for how many years he's been coaching. He's been there forever. So he knows how it runs. He can run it well. He knows exactly what he wants and he knows how to do it. Look at how many Final Fours he has and how many championships he has. And if he moves to another organization, he's not going to be as comfortable as he is
I don't
at Duke.
honestly see him leaving.
I wouldn't either. I'm not.
There.
I think he'll stay there for his entire career. I don't see why he needs to leave.
Nope. I completely
I think he's
agree.
in a perfect spot, and I think he knows that, and I think he's fine with where he is.
Yeah, and I'm completely fine with that as well. Kind of like right now, Grant, where I'm perfectly fine with it being time for your rant.
That was a stretch. That was a little bit of a stretch.
Was it a stretch?
It was a stretch.
I haven't had a good transition.
Not as good as my coach transition.
That was a good one. That was a very good one. All right, Grant. I will not coach you, whether it's professionally or collegiately. So you have the floor now for a minute to rant about anything you want in the sports world, sir. I know you have a fun topic, staying with our theme of the day, NFL draft.
Yes, I do.
All right, on your mark. 1 minute on the clock. Get set. Go.
Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota went 1-2 in the draft this past Thursday, and My big deal with them is no, not that they're bad players or anything like that. No, minus the crab leg thing. It's not a big deal. But the fact that they stayed at home and didn't go to the draft and, to be with their families, even though their families could come to the draft and other families go to the draft. And it's kind of like a thing where the first overall draft comes out and it's like, oh, it's a big deal. Here's your jersey, a picture. And he wasn't there. And I would have no problem with Roger Goodell doing this in the future by saying, if you want to be in the draft, it is required to go. Because it was kind of like a big middle finger for the top 2 draft picks not being there and not having a big building up the press like I know that Roger Goodell loves for his nonprofit organization. So I think you'll be seeing that in the next upcoming years with this being a thing with
time's up
with first draft players, like first round draft prospects to be there. Because, I mean, you have 7th round draft picks that might not know that they're going to get drafted being at home. That's fine, but I mean,
I think only, is it 20 or 25, pretty much guaranteed first round picks are invited.
Right, if you are invited,
you should go. Yeah.
It's not even an invitation. It's
if there's one thing I
required.
can say, it's that Mariota, in his defense, had no clue where he was going to go.
True.
So in that regard,
he knew he was going to go first round.
Oh, yeah.
So he knew he was going to get drafted that night.
He had a Titans jersey ready to go for the picture in Hawaii. So I'm pretty sure he knew well in advance.
Yeah, and you know. So
yeah,
I mean,
he probably had a jersey of every single NFL team just to be. He's like all 32 teams in one jersey. I don't know where I'm going.
Kind of like the Brett Favre Packer Viking Jets jerseys.
Love those. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and the Falcons. Everybody forgets about the Falcons. We're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, I know Connor Christensen's in studio to offer his health tip and play a quick version of Stardom, Sit 'em, Cut 'em. This is the Baxton Grand Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. Welcome back to the Baxton Grant Sports Show, presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Are you guys done? Jeez. We bring Connor in the studio, and you guys immediately start shock fighting. Come on. I don't even know what to make.
Which is crazy. Never do that.
No.
I figured out what that was yesterday. Don't do that.
Did you watch a video from it?
I did not.
It was brutal to watch.
Like...
After the show, we watched a video, and there was arcs of electricity off of their gloves, and it's kind of a mean thing to say, but it almost kind of looked like sissy fighting because they stuck their arms out and were almost slap fighting because they weren't actually boxing. They were just trying to tase the other guy.
Yeah. Don't tase me, bro.
Intern Laura said it was 3 million volts in
in each glove.
I can't imagine how you survive being hit by that.
Apparently, it's frequency imagine. Is that?
Yeah, she said she figured it out, the electro current of it. I think it's the frequency or
But then they were showing kids that were doing this, and I'm like, what's going on?
That's Brazil.
Gotta start my 6-year-old, off and shock fighting while he's young.
Yeah, Little League. Nah, we shock fight. It's a family affair.
Hashtag Brazil.
Hashtag Brazil. Yes, but anyway, it is Friday, which means Connor Christensen is here, which is an exciting time. You guys were talking before, so I couldn't fully properly introduce him, but it's all good.
I appreciate it.
People know who he is.
We
You're
like
fine.
to talk, okay? This
I'm
is a
old
talk.
news.
This is a sports radio talk show.
I know.
We talk.
Is
It's
that
what we do.
Oh.
No, we actually just do song and dance.
Oh, well, I mean, cue the music. No, just kidding.
Chicago at the draft.
You're all alone.
I was like, and
You're
anybody
all-
can chime
Nope,
in.
I am leaving you out to dry with that one.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to play Start, Sit, Cut fast before we get to the inside look at the Minnesota Vikings' first pick by Connor and his health tip. All right, so my first Start, Sit, Cut for you, gentlemen, is the St. Louis Rams backfield right now. Zach Stacy, Trey Mason, and the new addition, Todd Gurley. Who you keeping, cutting, and sitting? Grant?
Well, I cut Mason, I sit Stacy, and start Gurley.
Okay.
Just for the fact that he needs time to grow in the NFL. Maybe not even like Stacy, maybe even like a third down back, even though he's not really a third down back. But really swap them maybe one per drive. This is your drive,
Sure,
and this is your drive, something like that. So maybe not like a hardcore sit and Gurley's a hardcore starter, but giving him time to develop, but also have Stacy some time to develop too, because he's still a young player.
He is.
And he still has stuff. He still has stuff to prove.
So I'm going to disagree. I am
Good.
going to cut Gurley. In my opinion, they shouldn't have drafted him in the first place.
Just drafted him. Just kidding.
I wouldn't have drafted him. I wouldn't have drafted him.
Well,
I wouldn't have
yeah,
either.
I don't know why
I wouldn't
they-
have either. But
Yeah.
with that draft pick, I mean, you got to
nope,
do something.
he's gone. Cut him.
He wakes
him
up
the
this morning.
boot.
Wake up this morning to a text. You've been cut. What? the-
Sorry. And then
Just kidding.
we messed up.
Okay. This
This is
every
like
time.
my fight corner all over again. You guys are just gonna talk
But
over
you should go
me.
check out the video on our Facebook page. All 15 minutes.
I'm
Connor
sure
probably
it's
talks.
hilarious.
Connor
I'm sure
talks
it's
for about a
hilarious.
minute, and everything else is just banter.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
That's
good
real
family
fun.
entertainment.
Real
Anyway,
fun.
your picks,
Okay,
Connor.
so anyway, I am cutting Gurley, like
Yeah.
I said. I am going to let me see if I can remember which back is which.
Trey
now.
Mason and Zach Stacy.
Yeah, no, it's like
Oh, yeah.
which strength is for which back. I forget which
Stacy's
one
the
is
power
now.
back.
Yeah, okay. Then I am going to sit Stacy, and I'm going to start Mason because I prefer the quick back myself.
Ah, that's just what you do on Madden. You just try
That
to-
is what I do on Madden. Because it works.
it does.
It's where
Outrun
it
him.
works.
Get to the crease. All
All I
right.
have to do is juke him.
That's
and
true.
Then,
Get to
then
the
accelerate.
crease?
Yeah.
What are you playing hockey?
Man, you can't deke in football. You exactly. I'm not even just anyway.
This is the conversation.
Anyway,
They don't even know what we're talking about.
Anyway, I'm cutting Zach Stacy. I'm sitting Trey Mason, and I'm starting Todd Gurley.
Wow.
Okay,
That's what I'm
we
doing.
all had something different.
We did. All right, the last one for you, gentlemen. Three legends on the field, as it were. No, just kidding. Jermichael Finley.
Legend.
Yes,
He was a legend.
He was. Tony Gonzalez and Jimmy Graham.
How is this even? How? Okay. First of all, you cut Finley. I am sorry, but Finley
Vikings fan.
compared
Vikings
to
fan.
those two.
He's a Vikings fan. He doesn't
compared
know.
to those two. No,
He was
Finley's
a great
gone.
tight end. He just
Let Connor speak, and then you can do yours.
And then I'm sitting Jimmy Graham, and I'm starting Tony Gonzalez. Tony Gonzalez, in my opinion, is the best tight end that has ever played. In my opinion.
Grant.
cutting Tony Gonzalez.
Woo! Okie dokie then.
Sitting Jermichael Finley.
You're doing this just to spite me. You're doing this.
He would have
literally
started
just...
Finley to spite you.
I was actually thinking of cutting Graham, but just because you were being
Yeah.
rude, I'm going to start Graham.
Well, if Finley was better, then
He is. He just thought of the future and is like, I don't want to end up like in a nursing home at age 50 with no brain.
what?
Because
he
that's
had spinal issues.
Yeah, he had spinal contusion. He, didn't think
And
that
he,
that was
like,
going
with
back.
his head-
yeah.
he'd-
Before that, he wasn't very good.
Yeah, he was. He was a
okay.
fantastic tight end.
Compared to Graham and Gonzalez, though.
Baxter, continue.
Oh
What's
my
your pick over this idiot back here?
Wow.
If you don't want me on the show, I'll just leave.
There's
man.
the door.
All right, I'm done. I'll just leave.
I'm
good.
I will do your health tip.
What?
I'm curious. I'd be very curious.
I can do it.
Just to hear your. Let's hear Grant's health.
You
tip.
know, and I'll,
and stop. Don't stop.
lift, pick things up and put them down. That's your work.
The end. See, not hard. Easy.
You don't need me.
We don't. We really don't.
We need. All right. Anyway, holy cow, this has escalated very quickly. Just over a simple tight end question, and suddenly
It's not simple.
everybody
it's the meaning
loses
of
their
life.
mind.
No, it's very simple.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
extremely
obvious.
simple.
It's obvious. You
Get rid
start
of
your
Finley.
Michael
No,
Finley,
not.
you cut Tony. No, I'm kidding. No, I would start Tony Gonzalez. I would sit. Yeah, see, I'm on the fence about Jimmy
Because you have
Graham.
to decide.
No, I'm
Because
not.
you're so heated, he's afraid. You scared Baxter.
No, I would sit Jimmy and I would cut Jermichael because
Nope.
I think Jimmy Graham is a little overrated personally.
I'm
Drew
Drew
done with
Brees
you.
made him look way better than I think he
I mean,
actually is.
yeah.
Yeah.
He had a just mind-blowing year in 2013, and then he was awful last year.
You could say
But
the same
Jermichael
for
Finley?
You could say the
Jermichael
same
Finley
for
was
Finley.
semi-consistent throughout his career.
But
Finley didn't have
also-
that spike in his career one year where he was like lights out. He
No,
was just
he did
consistent.
have that 1 year. That was their Super
He was
Bowl year.
just
that
pretty
they
darn
had.
consistent. He was a good tight end.
No, yeah, I wouldn't disagree that he was consistent, but he had like 1 or 2 years. It's because he had a short career.
Yes.
You
That's
could
the
al-
one
You
thing.
could also make the argument about who was throwing in the ball because he's had some good QBs
Aaron
too.
Rodgers, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of depends.
That's
Now you've got Russell Wilson throwing to Jimmy.
Yeah, he's not going to do as well.
Tony Gonzalez, I think, did the most with the least.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
Oh,
Matt
I
Ryan,
think-
Michael Vick aren't awful quarterbacks,
But
but
they're not,
Rodgers
like,
and
elite.
Brees,
Yeah,
different.
No, Matty Ice is no Rodgers or
Exactly.
Drew Brees.
Exactly. All right, Connor, give us a quick rundown about the Minnesota Vikings first-round draft pick before we get to your health tip.
Okay, so they with their it was pick 11, they picked up a cornerback, Trey Waynes, and I apologize if I mispronounced, but I don't think I did. Trey Waynes, he seemed like a pretty good pick. It wasn't exactly what I thought that the team should have done, but it didn't surprise me. I definitely think that the backfield is something that needed attention. So I am happy to see that they're trying to pull in some big names. Trey Waynes had the fastest 40 sprint at the combine in the cornerback position with a 4.3, which is really fast. And then he also had the most amount of bench reps, 19 reps. So he's a strong guy. He's 6'1", or he's 6 feet tall. He's a big guy. He can jump. He can run very fast. Kind of because I was looking at the NFL.com, kind of how they overviewed all the draft picks, and they list some strengths and weaknesses, and they've been saying how he's good with press coverage. He's good man to man. He's confident. He's big. So that is something that the Vikings can definitely use when trying to put up, like when you have the Calvin Johnson and
he's going to be
Golden
going against
Tate.
them a lot.
I don't think he's ready. It's not like, hey, let's toss the new guy in on Calvin Johnson. But I think the Vikings have at least some depth at cornerback now,
Which is huge.
where they can put Xavier Rhodes or I forget the
Captain
other,
somebody.
something. I think it starts with an N.
Yeah.
I just call him Captain.
Captain
at cornerback. They can put one of those two guys or
Captain
both of
and Coke
them
on the
on
corner.
Calvin Johnson, and then this new guy can, if he's that confident, we'll see how good he actually does in the actual season. But and then they could put him on Golden Tate, or they can put him and somebody else on Golden Tate. They can shift some things around now that they have some depth at cornerback.
And he played for Michigan State in college, and Michigan State is a very decent team. So
They are.
And looking at some of his stats, he looks like a pretty good player. Now,
Yeah.
Connor, do you think that he was a pretty safe pick? Do you I know it's early, and you can't. Players always look good before you step onto the field. But does he look like he would fit well with the Vikings, that he could contribute effectively?
I think so, because I was looking at some of his stats, and the past 2 years he's only had 6 interceptions.
Not bad.
Now, at first, I was
Be
like,
better.
it doesn't seem like a whole lot to me, But, then again, what do I know about college football? But at the same
6
time,
is not that great over
it's
2 years.
it didn't seem. I was comparing it with some other stats, looking at things, and 6 didn't seem like a whole lot. But where his strength is in press coverage, stopping the pass from even happening, and tackling. He's a good, solid tackler. The NFL.com called him a wrap-up tackler, which to me is tackling right. You wrap up, you drag them down. That's you don't dive and try to pull somebody down by their shirt or whatever. You wrap them up, you bring them down. And I think alongside Harrison Smith, who is a fantastic tackler who actually gets quite a few sacks and tackles for loss. And I think that Trey Waynes will be a good addition to that aspect of the team as a tackling team.
Yep, I completely agree. Just as a fast side note before we get to your health tip, Melvin Gordon and Trey Waynes were both high school teammates down in Kenosha, Wisconsin. They both played for Kenosha Bradford and were both all-state selection senior year.
Wow. And I was talking to the guys I was talking to in the area, the gathering at our school.
Yes.
They played those guys in high school.
Oh,
they
Lord.
were actually on the field with them, and they were still like their senior year. They were like, we still can't believe that we got to play with them. And their team actually did not win state that year because they played, I forgot who they played.
Probably Arrowhead.
No, it was something
Homestead?
West. It was...
I don't even know.
Not Waukesha West. I don't know who it was, but they played, and the only reason they lost because apparently the weather was really bad. But yeah, interesting high school.
Fact.
People from our college played.
All right,
guys,
Connor.
so.
Well, with a minute on the clock, sir, we will get your health tip and then send you on your merry way because we got to go to a break to finish out the show. So a minute on the clock with your health tip this week, sir. Get ready and go.
All right, today I'm going to talk about a couple fat loss tips that I have for you. One is, I can't remember if I've done this before. I don't think I have. The first one is spicy food.
No, haven't done that.
So, if you've noticed, when you eat spicy food, you sweat, right? Do you know why that is? That is because your metabolism is sped up when you eat spicy food. Therefore, adding some, chili powder, whatever you want to add, to make things a little spicier. Grant is cowering now.
I hate spicy food.
Adding some spicy food can help kickstart that metabolism in order to help you lose weight a little bit. Also, my second weight loss tip for the day is to have more small meals per day. Instead of 3 big meals per day, have 5 small meals per day. What that does is it keeps your body's metabolism going throughout the day instead of putting it all at once, losing it for a while, and then putting it all again. You keep it going throughout the day.
Time's up. Very nice. Grant is flexing here in the studio.
You might want to put those away. I don't know.
It might hurt
break
somebody.
everybody.
I don't know if the viewers can handle that.
That's just a lot. That is too much. Break the camera. All right, well, Connor, thank you so much for stopping by. We enjoyed you playing Start, Sit, Cut with us and talking about the new addition to the Vikings secondary and then offering your health tips. Spicy food, Grant.
Nah.
Make it happen.
Nah.
Small meals with spicy food.
I'll just
eat chili powder straight.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll go to Taco Bell and just drink the sauce packets.
That's how Danny Hoffenstein says so smooth. So
that's Taco Bell.
Actually, he runs all day. But,
whatever.
But he does have Taco Bell a lot, too. Anyway, we're going to take a break. Connor Christensen, thank you so much for stopping by. Where can they find you on Twitter, sir?
They can find me at ConnorDC126.
ConnorDC126, thank you again, sir. Always a pleasure. We will check in again with you on Monday. We'll be right back. This is the Baxton Grant Sports Show. Welcome back to the Baxton Grant Sports Show presented by Sports Radio America. I'm Bax.
And this is Grant.
Grant, you and Connor were getting into it in the last segment as we were playing Start, Sit, Cut and talking about the spicy food to help you lose weight. It's true. Spicy food for days, Grant.
I was going to tackle him into the
I know you were. Into the
audience.
Third row.
Yeah.
I might have to eject you, Grant, and then cause you to lose by 54 points like the Bucks did last night.
I mean, whatever.
Anyway, Grant, another team, though, when it talks about big losses, remember how I joked about Duck a la mode between the Calgary Flames and the Anaheim Ducks?
Yes.
Well, that was not the case last night. I will make another horrible pun. The flame has been extinguished in Calgary as the Ducks swooped in and put in 6 goals against the Calgary Flames last night in the second
it right,
round.
though.
I did. I said
Good
it.
job.
Thank you. At the Honda Center in Game 1, Grant, Anaheim now is a 1-0 lead. Consistency, Grant, was key. 2 goals in each of the 3 periods for the Ducks. Calgary not finding their lone goal until the third period. Surprised? Not surprised?
Not really surprised, because I was saying that Calgary just had a long, hard-hitting series against the Vancouver Canucks, so I wasn't really surprised. The Ducks are a great team. Calgary isn't bad, but the Ducks did better in the regular season. They got the regular seed, and a lot of people are taking them over Calgary in this series. Now, and another thing that I want to point out is Corey Perry got 2 goals. He's a great player for them. And Ryan Getzlaf, who is arguably their best player, got a goal last night. So if you want to win games against these guys, you have to stop these guys finding the back of the net. So for the fact that they had half of their goals, that's a big problem why they lost.
Yes.
Now, looking over to the other game that happened, Washington Capitals versus the New York Rangers.
Big series.
Big series. It's going to be really interesting. I'm actually going to take the Capitals to win this whole
I have
series.
the Rangers winning the series, so we'll see.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. A lot of people are saying that not a lot of people, there's not one big favorite, but some people are saying that the Rangers, since they won the President's Trophy, they're obviously going to win the Cup. I don't see that at all. So it'll be interesting to see where the series is going to go, but Washington takes the game 2-1. Alex Ovechkin getting a goal for the Washington Capitals.
The NHL's leading goal scorer this year.
Yep, and was he really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I thought it was somebody else who.
I thought.
Oh, yeah, because he got. I think it was like the last game or something like that. Ovechkin scored because I felt like there was
Alio.
Somebody else. But anyway, to take the game winner, Joel Ward got his second goal of the playoffs.
Good for him.
And won the game 2-1, and that was in the third period with 2 seconds left to go.
Wow. Huge. That was huge. He said. There was a quote from him too, saying he was excited to see win the game. I will ask you this fast, Grant, before we go to before we end the show today. Why is there an angry orca in the Vancouver Canucks logo?
Okay, glad you asked. Vancouver, the Canucks is a company that owned it was the Vancouver Canucks and there was a whaler company, or like a whaler, like a fish packaging or whatever you want to call it. Their company owned the Vancouver Canucks, and so their logo, because they couldn't decide a logo and they were coming up with the logo, they wanted the C on there, and so they just said that the top C would be the orca, so that's why.
Okay, because I was looking at him like, what's the angry orca have to do with anything? Because he's got like I'm so mad,
it's because a company that owns them.
Gotcha, so they're like the Vancouver Packers, basically.
Pretty much.
Okay, good to know. All right, well, this has been another edition of the Bax and Grant Sports Show. Connor Christensen stopped by today to offer us some wonderful knowledge on the health tip.
I'll have to shock fight him later.
Shock fighting. Watch for the video. It'll be exciting.
I'll
Intern Laura
beat him
will do
up.
all the sideline commentary for that. We did miss her today. She was off on assignment today, unfortunately. NFL draft right around the corner. Second and third rounds happening today, and then the rest concluding mañana. Connor Christensen again, thanks for stopping by. Grant Coppersmith, sir, always a pleasure. Any thoughts as we head for the weekend?
No, really.
Give us a bold prediction for the draft this weekend, Grant.
The Eagles are taking everybody and is gonna just play the entire season by themselves.
You heard it here first. It will be the Philadelphia. It'll be the PFL, the Philadelphia Football League this year. All right. He's Grant Coppersmith. I'm Baxter Colburn. We are going to sign off for today. I know how to speak English. Too much coffee makes my lips move faster than my brain. Anyway,
that normally happens.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Spreaker and on theCUBE and for SportsRadioAmerica.com for all they do for us as well. We will see you all again on Monday. Take care, be safe, be good, and go Packers.